Shanghai. We have had just a crazy couple of days of games, guys. I mean, this has been a rock-solid tournament already, and this round of 8 is just so deadly, it's almost impossible to predict who will win.
I am so excited for these games. 4 best-of-5s today. It's going to be awesome, Dan. I'm loving the drawing as well. I am a little bit worried for our only Chinese player here as he's going up against TY. But it's going to be awesome, and everything is going to be a good day. A long day of StarCraft, and I love best-of-5 so much better than
best-of-5s are the best, aren't they, Todd?
Yeah, you know what's better than best-of-5? Best-of-7. That's going to be for the finals as well. So I'm excited for this too, and it keeps on getting better and better. Looking at the player list going into this tournament, like, I think everybody knew that it was going to be amazing, but then you get to see those games, you're like, wow, actually, like, these guys are incredible. I think the first-person feature, once again, really brought out even more excitement and entertainment out of that as well, because we got to see the crisis management in particular of some of these guys. Are you kidding me?
Dude, StarCraft II has been out for 7 years now, yet Apollo continues to revolutionize our broadcast. How crazy is that, really?
I mean, he wrote that song, by the way, the Lit Mob Stay Alive. That was written by him.
You can definitely tell.
But the lyrics, you know, very simplistic, much like Apollo.
Reminds me of the WCG song, man. Really, it's just a classic for the ages that we will never forget. So if we take a look at the group stage, it was pretty crazy. Like, we had so many upsets during it as well that we weren't really expecting. Some of the best games of the year, just taking a quick look. Group A had TY coming out, just destroying the group. Dark in second, Bunny in third, and Penguin in fourth. Maybe the most straightforward group out of the 4.
Yeah, but Dark still had to dig very, very deep, though. I already said it a couple times this tournament, but if you missed it, check out Dark against Bunny, game 2 of the Decider series, because then there's literally no other Zerg in the world that would have still won that.
There is no other Zerg. You're completely right about that Odyssey game. And then, of course, Group B here, Todd, with Rogue kind of destroying it, but iAsonu over 2 GSL champions. Stats and Gumiho, they're not like old GSL champions. No. We're not talking about Seed or MVP or something. We are talking about the 2 guys that won this year.
Yeah, that was really impressive. It really goes to show, you know, that hard work will pay off eventually. Like, we talk a lot about iAsonu because I think he's the big surprise, but Rogue, you said it, rank 1 on the ladder, and I said it, getting that ladder experience, getting those ladder results is eventually, the results will show as well in tournaments.
Yeah.
For Rogue to take first in that group above all of these guys as well is very impressive, and it goes to show that I think in this tournament, he's definitely one of those guys that you should look at and be like, you know, he's not as much as a fan favorite as some of the other Terrans in particular that we have there. I think Rogue definitely could take it all the way too.
He is looking really strong, and he's making this one final push to try to get to BlizzCon this year. But let's take a look at Group C. Su, Hero, Solar, and Time in that order. Really hotly contested second place there with Solar versus Hero. But, you know, also Time, he played well. We didn't get to see him on the main stream, but O2 doesn't do justice, Roddy, really, to how well he played.
No, absolutely not. He had a very rough first game against Su, maybe a little bit nervous, but game 2 that he played on Abyssal, that was awesome. That was as good as Terran could play. I mean, there are very few Terrans in the world that can beat Su in like 6 minutes and kill 92 units, only lose 12. So even though he didn't win a best-of-3 series in this group, I still think that he can just take the experience here and be quite proud of the way that he played StarCraft.
What was she playing here? Was that a Mayweather-McGregor simulation?
That was her trying to defend against Time on Abyssal Reef, man. That was just too much.
She was a queen.
Liberators everywhere. She's like, oh, get out of here. Get away from me. Hellbats, no. And then, of course, Group D, the group of death. This had, well, Trust, he had a hard time. The O2 accurately represents what his games look like here, but Innovation, Byun, and Maru really duked it out.
Yeah, I think Byun, his TvT is his weakest matchup. He came into it with not the greatest mindset. Yeah. He fixed that super well for the latest match against Maru.
Thanks to you, he said. You were coming up, giving him prep talks. Byun, you're the best. You can do it.
I don't know about that. I think it was pretty much him doing everything. But Innovation toppling that group as well. You know, it's kind of like what you expect in a way out of Innovation, but he delivers in those tournaments, in those Interactive Masters, champion in Gyeonggi. Like he always plays really well there. So also one of those guys that I look at as one of the favorites here to do really well today and tomorrow.
It is kind of heartbreaking, though, to see Maru being eliminated in that group because he played
on his
so damn good. I mean, if you miss Maru versus Innovation, that game 2 on Proxima, you're just watching that, you're like, all right, these guys are just way too good. Any ambitions that you may have trying to win tournaments, well, that's where you got to get to go, and it's just ridiculous. And it's kind of sad, because then some people are like, man, Maru is really sucking these days, isn't he? He went 4-4 against Innovation and beyond. He just lost the series that he shouldn't have lost, and got a little bit unfortunate, but I still love the games. I really enjoyed that group, and it really showed that, you know, if Terran versus Terran doesn't get decided early on by Cyclone Reaper stuff, and we just get to the later stages, if you give these guys 3 bases and a bunch of Marines, it's fireworks, and it's a treat to see.
And Maru is actually in the most fragile spot on the WCS points. He's in 8th place, so definitely could have used some more. He will get more opportunities, but sad for him, especially on his birthday, to go out like this.
Yeah, that is a really good point, right? Because GSL he is out of, which means that is he in SSL Premier right now? I think he might be in it, but Super Tournament is the last big point tournament left for the whole year. So
no pressure.
Yeah, no, he's going to have to do it, because there's like 3 guys that are hovering right around him for those last 3 spots that are still in this tournament.
John is in the 10th spot.
Yeah.
John has everything to play for here, and what a story it would be as well. Just at the end of the year to finally peak at the right time, like you said, and make it back to BlizzCon where he's the champ.
Oh, well, talking about those players still left over in this tournament, here's the bracket. TY against iAsonu, Innovation against Hero, Rogue versus Dark, and Sue versus Björn. Overall thoughts on the bracket here, Roddy?
I love it, man. I think Hero actually has a shot against Innovation, because we know that he just plays unorthodox. Innovation likes the standard straight-up games where he can just outshine everybody he plays against. But Hero is dirty. Hero is going to be crazy. Rogue versus Dark, that's about as excited as I can possibly get about his EVZ. Rogue looked great. I totally agree with everything that Todd said, and obviously being dominant on ladder means a lot. We saw that in the foreign scene as well, when Cerro started dominating ladder, really started showing up in tournaments too. But Dark is still Dark, and I think that, you know, the way he said it, he's like, I was a little off the first day, but don't worry, like, I'm going to be a lot better. I think that's going to be a spectacular best of 5.
I think it's really cool there's only 1 mirror in there, you know, from the usual 3 or 4 that we get in those round of 8s. Just having 1 single ZVZ, having the Terrans spread out in particular, like with these guys being some of the huge favorites that we have there, not just fan favorite, but also really good. Potentially 3 Terrans in the semifinals, that'd be sick.
Yeah, that definitely can happen. I mean, you get these horsemen all together in a tournament, and a lot of them are going through. They are just such beasts. But speaking of which, of course, we're going to have iAsonu versus TY coming up pretty soon here. What do you guys think about iAsonu's chances?
Yeah, Todd, take it away.
I said it from the start, like I said it a long time ago. I'm sorry, crowd, but I really don't think he's going to be able to do very well here. TY aced his group. He beat 2 Zergs, 2-0 each.
Yeah.
And he's just looked so good against Zerg. Like, ever since I saw those games at last year's global finals against Elaser, where it was like the most one-sided series of the whole tournament, I was like, all right, TY, not to be trifled with in ZVT, and it showed ever since. He's just so insanely good at it, and I feel like if there were any Zergs to give TY like a run for his money, he wasn't even Dark before, nor Penguin. I feel like it would have to be maybe like Sue or I don't know. Like he's just insanely good at it.
Yeah, it's going to be incredibly tough. There's no other way to put it, right? Like, iAsonu is a massive underdog. I think the other 3 series are all very tough to call. This one is like a 98% sure victory for TY. But it is still StarCraft. Anything is possible. I was here a little over a year and a couple months ago. It was like 2016 March. And we had an all-star match back then, where it was basically the rest of the world versus Korea. Happened at the Gold Series Invitational. And back then, iAsonu did defeat TY. But it was a best of 1. It was on Runes of Seras. But I mean, he did beat Gumio as well. Let's not pretend that iAsonu does not know how to play StarCraft, but he also knows this is going to be very tough. I ran into him at the lobby and I was like, so TY, it's going to be easy? And he looked at me and he's like, easy? He's like, are you crazy? It's TY. And I was like, I was joking, you know?
And iAsonu, very important match for him as well. Ranked 10th in the WCS circuit standings, just right outside, in reach of maybe a spot at the global finals. So that'd be such a great story as well for him if he was able to do it there. But I feel like he maybe got the toughest opponent here in this round of 8.
Yeah, it's really hard to say otherwise. Like, TY, when he is on top of his game, looks like maybe just the best player in the entire world across the races. But it looks like it is time for DX Master on the stage.
And he's going to shine today. He's going to shine. He already told me a little bit yesterday what he's going to do. And he's going to hype up this crowd like it's nothing.
He's already shining green right there.
They love it, man. They came here for the StarCraft and they stayed for the DX Master.
You know, yesterday I actually had dinner with DX Master, and he asked us during dinner, he's like, Jay's like, hey, DX Master has a question for you. When you guys are on the desk and I'm on stage, what do you guys talk about? And we're like, we talk about you, man. Like, you're awesome. And he started laughing. He's like, oh, thank you, thank you.
Well, this is one of the greatest matchups here, although one-sided. DX Master versus the crowd. He wins every single time.
Yeah, I feel like we should draw inspiration from him for sure. Like, he's killing it.
I want him to...
That kind of looks like a memorial photo, so I hope.
You know how they always have this awesome opening ceremony at Katowice where, you know, someone like Todd carries the trophy? I want DX Master to open it next year in Chinese to a Polish audience, and trust me, Todd, he will get them going.
She's back, Protoss lady, Protoss Cap lady.
Of course, the
Cheering,
Protoss hope's still alive.
ready to cheer for Hero.
Until Hero goes down, she will keep that cap on.
What happens to the cap when Heroes goes?
Then he swaps it out, you know, like whoop, and he shows his Terran cap.
That style, like she wears two hats.
Yes, just keep on stacking them. And then if the final is Dark versus someone and Dark is up 3-0, she shows up with the Zerg.
Rogue, you know, we talked about him as like the #1 ladder rank and stuff. He's the player that has the lowest WCS points standings in the Korea standings. 16th place. If he wins this tournament, the dream is alive. But he only has to win it though. Like nothing else, nothing less will
Well,
work.
other than that, he's basically got to win GSL this season, which, I mean, it's doable. He crushed in his GSL group.
Yeah.
I mean, you cast him all the time, though, Dan. I kind of wonder, because in 2015, a lot of, especially like the Zerg fanboys out there, they were all hyping up Rogue. And everyone said Rogue's the next big thing. Rogue is maybe the best Zerg. He made it to the global finals in 2015.
Yeah.
What happened?
Dude, he did have like a downturn there. I remember that, right? Because I remember watching the qualifiers. It was him and Sulky. They were the two big Zergs at that time. Like, Rogue was the up-and-coming. Sulky was the King Zerg back then. And it looked like his future was so bright, but he just kind of fell off. And I'm not really sure exactly what happened to him, but he is back with a vengeance. It feels like he's really filled out his play completely at this point, and he's just kind of grinding it out and waiting for his moment.
I told him this yesterday. He's like, what should I do? I was like, do like IA. He's like, yeah, that's awesome. Oh, there's this feeling. This is really cool, man. It's going to be an awesome series. I do really hope that iAsonu can catch TY off guard once or twice. But I think we all know that if TY gets up to 3 bases up and running, and he has not taken any damage whatsoever, it's going to be a nightmare for iAsonu. It needs to happen early. Probably going to see a lot of Ravages, a lot of things, a lot of aggression, and that's the only way I can see this go well for him.
He needs to gather some momentum. Maybe make TY a little bit confused with some moves here and there, find some ways to do damage, and then maybe, just maybe, can he win a map or two? No, maybe he'll take the series now, but he's going to take a lot. Like I said, like for TY to lose here, I think this might be the most one-sided matchup on paper that we're going to have today.
On paper, I agree with you, but to take out Gumiho 2-0, I mean, there you have it. You know, you were talking about it earlier, Todd. Will TY go for mech at all? And in my opinion is, if you beat Gumiho 2-0, who is the mech master, TY is not going to touch that strategy, and that stock standard play against iAsonu, will he be able to out-macro that?
TY doesn't really need to at all to play mech, but maybe he wants to prove a point. That'd be kind of silly, though, because like you say, iAsonu did really well against Gumiho.
He has been taking down champions, though, this year, and TY is also a multiple-time champion this year. One Katowice. He's like, you know, I got 2 GSL champs, now I'm going to take out an Intel Extreme Masters champion as well. It would be probably... If iAsonu makes it past TY here, like we've seen a lot of crazy things over the last few years, but taking out those 2 Koreans, he took out in the group stage, and then TY in the quarters, I don't want to say biggest upset ever.
That'd be bigger than Uthermal winning last year, you think?
Yes. I mean, Uthermal last year was an outsider, you know, a top 4, top 5 outsider, but I think that would be a ridiculously impressive run by iAsonu.
Well, I definitely do agree with there, Roddy, and with that being said, I think it's time to start iAsonu against TY.
TY has been looking absolutely incredible lately. He just completely bulldozed through his group. He's the earningest player so far this year in StarCraft II. And I think he's going to be powering through the rest of the year very strongly as well. So look out for him.
He doesn't use anymore. It's all about Army production. Oh no! Oh no! Oh my God! 5-9 hit. All of a sudden, Dark's only supply is gone.
iAsonu's been one of the best Chinese players for a long time now, but for him to actually take down 2 GSL champions, 2 of the absolute best players in the world, was something nobody expected. I know we're all very impressed with him, and the Chinese fans especially are very excited to see what he can do later on in the tournament.
So Stats will become forcing. He's actually going to try and fight this. He moves right into the center of the zone. The storms go down.
TY is an absolute veteran. You know, he's played for so long now. He's just a fantastic player. He's really good at coming back even when he's behind, and his control is very, very precise. iAsonu is a very intelligent player. Together, he's always someone who pulls out unique strategies, brings a very unique way of approaching the game, and I think that's part of how he surprises his opponents.
It just speaks volumes of how good iAsonu is here. And I think at this point, we can't really discount this guy as a possible winner.
All right, guys, it is time. Maynard and Wardy here to bring you the first TvZ of the day, the first Day 3 round of 8 match, and it is going to be a cracker. We have a multiple-time champion, TY, the reigning IEM champion, WESG champion. He's made 300 grand in 3 months at the beginning of the year against iAsonu, the local hero. Wardy, let's get into this one. In the bottom left, the Chinese hopeful. This is iAsonu. Crowd well and truly behind him, and in the top right, the reigning champion. This is TY.
What an absolutely crazy match to start us off today. TY, the IEM TvZ champion, going up against the guy who's just knocked out 2 GSL champions 2 days ago. 2-0 against Gumiho in the losers match before coming back and taking down Stats 2-1. He took a map off Stats in the first series he played as well. This guy is really a lot better than I think a lot of people are going to give it credit for.
Myself included. I honestly thought iAsonu would not make it out of his group. The thing was so stacked. Every group's stacked. And let's be honest, this tournament's insane. But he's against a guy that 2-0'd Dark on stage. He 2-0'd Penguin. He's won 4 maps and lost nothing so far in this tournament. And he is yet to bleed on stage. So I mean, he's got a tall order to say the least, but the dream is alive. Shanghai is well and truly behind IA, so some sick signs out there in the crowd, everyone cheering his name, and hopefully the home ground advantage can give him the power he needs to beat a guy that on paper he just really should never beat.
I just hope he can put up a good match against TY, because TY against Penguin, we saw clips of that, and that was an absolute bodying of Penguin.
Yeah.
And if this series goes that way, which honestly it can, it's TY, you know. We saw this guy playing from so far behind against Dark, and he made Dark look as though he didn't have a chance, even though Dark should have won from like the 5-minute marker. So it's going to be really, really tough. I think if iAsonu can just put up a fight, put up some good games, he can leave happy. Obviously, he wants to win, but man, what mindset do you even go in with when you go up against someone like TY?
I mean, iAsonu, I feel like he's just got to stick with what he's comfortable with, go with what he does best, and that has been, you know, aggressive, creative play, using Nidus Worms, using Roach Ravager timings with Ling Floods. Stuff like that worked out very much against Gumiho, but Gumiho had weaknesses in his builds. When you go for mech, you have Hellions early game and that sort of thing, and you just don't have the units to be able to hold those kinds of timings. And TY, you know, Tosis already touched on it. I very much doubt we'll be seeing mech from him in this series, as being defensive and being careful with bioplay.
Yeah, I think TY is going to just come in with this and straight up standard sort of format. You know, he's going to say, hey, I feel pretty good. I beat Dark the other day. Wow, and look at that, already 2 kills on the Reaper. I mean, this is already looking like one of those games where you can see which player has the slight edge in mindset, in just very slight control things. I mean, when that Reaper gets 2 drones so quickly and gets out alive, it's never a great thing for the Zerg.
We see that TY actually is not switching over for Hellion straight up. He's getting a Widow Mine with favoring Marine production on a reactive barracks instead of switching over the production structures. So we're going to have probably a little bit of a Widow Mine drop once that starport finishes, getting a medevac out and trying to get more drone kills. Already getting 2 with the Reaper, and in fact the Reaper's helping the Queen out a little bit here. So both players just joining hands and getting rid of that collapsible tower.
It's so nice when the racers work together to achieve the same goal, you know?
It doesn't happen too often in a 1v1 war game.
You don't see iAsonu going across the map to help out the Terran player, though, do you?
Now we are seeing well and truly the style of iAsonu showing up here in a pretty cheeky location, just in the bottom right of the natural. Of course, that can be used to wall off as well, because one of the weaknesses of Defender's Landing is that you have 2 entrances in your base. You have to collapse the rocks if you want to get rid of one of the entrances. This Reaper's going to jump up into the natural and see the Roach Warren and the Evo Chamber. It does die, but does get that scouting information. He knows he's up against Roach Plate.
Yeah, this is really nice for TY because he sees the Roach Warren, the Evo. He can pretty much assume a lair based on the fact it's only 2 bases. The lack of a third hatchery is something which is becoming a bit of a standard in iAsonu's play.
Yeah.
Especially in Legacy of the Void, you almost never see 2 base builds for an extended period of time, especially past 4 minutes. But we're still without a third hatchery here. It's something he was doing against stats in the ZVPs. Now we're going to see what he can get up to in the ZVT while doing the same. And we're just going to see this initial defense. Queens on top of that medevac initially, and they are going to keep it away.
Yeah, they are for now. Not a whole lot of creep on this side of the map. They need to get down into the main creep circle. There they go. So this, I don't foresee the medevac doing any damage at all, and he just gets deflected here. iAsonu gearing up for a third baseman, not taking it just yet. Hellions are going into the natural, and there's a big pull off the drone line here, and he has to. He really doesn't have any units.
He really doesn't have all 4 workers already going down. TY is going to now find a 5th one as well before the Roaches pop out to turn this away. But now the medevac in the main, and here we go, Widowmine, and there's no detection here just yet, unless there's an overseer nearby, which there isn't.
Oh, target fire on that cluster of drones there. 12 drones in total going down. That's an insane amount of economy damage. TY, in a TvZ, you very rarely see the Terran up 10 workers at this point in the game on 2 bases. That's a rough spot here for iAsonu, but of course, he has an ace up his sleeve. It looks like he's going to try, possibly for some fast Swarm Host play, but I don't know if that'll work out for him here.
I mean, I don't want to doubt iAsonu's strategy. He plays differently, and they're builds that we don't usually see, so it's very hard to know where exactly it's going to go and how it's going to play out against the sort of situation he's in, but it really isn't looking pretty. As you mentioned, he's already down in workers. He still doesn't have a third, and oh my god, more drones going down. This one on the third base. I think the Widowmine just went off again and picked up a couple more kills before it got cleaned out, and this is not pretty at all.
A little annoying. iAsonu using that lava to get those drone counts back up, and also starting to get those Swarm Hosts going as we kind of expected here. With those +1 attack ranged upgrades, Swarm Hosts are going to be hitting a little bit harder, and they can be amazing. iAsonu has used them very clutch, and you know, they were pretty much the backbone for his army in one of the matches where he eliminated, you know, where he took a map off of stats in his first series against him, and we see that TY is just taking the map back away from iAsonu here, clearing out Overlords, being very, very high pressure on the other side of the map, using drop play, using Hellion run-bys. This Overlord going down, Liberator as well on the map, looking for more drone kills. Hasn't got any just yet, but iAsonu is going to start getting across the map and trying to get damage done himself. We'll see how these Swarm Hosts play out for him. So yeah, he has 6 or 7 at the moment.
You made a really nice point about how this was a key feature in his matches against stats, but man, I mean, TY's already got siege tanks up. Let's see how he deals with the first wave of Locusts coming in right now. They land, but I just feel as though TY has more than enough. Look at this, he just goes straight up and fights in. What, I think did he even kill 1 Marine?
I actually think he's killed absolutely nothing.
I think he got 1 Marine.
Okay, there you go. 1 Marine.
I get a couple SCVs here.
Here's another Marine kill. There we go.
Wow.
So 2 Marines going down to those waves of Swarm Hosts, and I mean, you know, that's free damage, but these Swarm Hosts are going to need to do more than that. They are a very supply-intensive unit, and the backbone of the army here is Roaches, Ravagers, and Swarm Hosts. I mean, with TY already getting, like, he's on 2 medevacs worth of Marines, he's getting his tank count up, he's getting into Liberators, that one getting picked off very nicely by iAsonu. It just seems like TY is starting to get all the tools he needs to completely crush this army.
Yeah, exactly. Siege tanks, +1/+1, stim pack, everything you could possibly need. The thing with Swarm Hosts in this situation, and especially on this map, it's so weird because it's such a small map. I wonder how it actually works out. Once a wave of Locusts get cleared, surely TY can just get across the map and go counterattack, right? And then what does iAsonu actually have to fight? Well, here we go. A little bit of an engagement starting to happen. A couple of Ravagers, a few Roaches along with these Locusts. I mean, he does a better damage, but not really enough to justify the position he's in still, I don't think.
Yeah, at least he didn't lose any Swarm Hosts or too many Roaches here during that attack. He got 2 SCVs and a handful of Marines here for his trouble. TY just trying to beat back this creep spread. The Swarm Hosts taking the high ground here in the middle of Defender's Landing, looking like they want to rein in and sort of flank with Locusts from the high ground and maybe kill some of these tanks. He really wants to eat into the siege tank count.
He really, really doesn't. TY is actually on the move back right now. He is down 40 army supply. The Locusts are almost ready to go, and TY, what's happening? He's going to have his tanks and siege from the high ground. Medevacs are here to lift them up. Is he going to have enough? Well, SCVs are pulled in and he's starting to lose a few, but iAsonu is also starting to run out of roaches as the Locusts finally join in the fray.
Yeah, here comes a big wave of Locusts here, and the Roaches and Ravagers are going with them to see if they can help out and get more damage done to TY. It will look pretty critical here, but the 3 siege stacks from TY are making sure the third is relatively safe. Oh, he does get the engineering bay, delaying one of the upgrades here, plus to attack. Looks like TY has to restart it. Nice little move from iAsonu. Not critical damage, but definitely damage.
I love iAsonu's game plan now. You can see that TY keeps overcommitting a little bit too far forwards, and that's what instigated that fight being so good for iAsonu. And it's really because iAsonu's drone count is so much lower than TY expected to be. He's sort of abusing that factor, you know? He's saying, oh, you think you can fight me because I don't have as much, but actually I've got plenty to take you on. So TY does have to be careful. I like what he's doing now, moving forward with Marines, which are mobile, but leaving his tank siege back at home. Another wave of Locust main off.
That's right, he's making sure he has clusters of Marines protecting siege tanks against the Locusts. The Marines DPS them down, but a couple of siege tanks do go down. Too many Marines left over though, Wardy. He's going to beat back the Roach follow-up.
And Ravagers going down as well. They are expensive. A couple of transfusions are doing a good job.
Wow.
He keeps that Ravager alive. What a great play by iAsonu. Absolutely necessary because he cannot afford to lose anything off of this really, really low drone count. Still only 45 workers in the game, 10 minutes in.
TY just needs to hold on, and iAsonu just needs to keep his foot down on the throttle here. Don't give him an edge of space, don't give him breathing room. Just keep making roaches. I can't believe he's making a drone right now, Wardy. I see that in the production tab. I just think he just needs to make roaches right now and just try and kill him. Because the longer this game goes, it's going to get better and better for the Terran.
Took the words right out of my mouth. The longer this goes, the Terran player's just been sat on 60 workers, and he's just going to have more and more. Upgrades are coming in as well. Combat shields just finished, but here's the issue as well. TY's also starting to counterattack, so now iAsonu's going to take damage at home.
Oh,
the Queen goes down, multiple drones, and TY is starting to show us why he is TY.
That's right, he's largely in charge in this game so far. iAsonu still has a window to be able to get damage done. These swarm hosts need to get into that tank line. They need to get more bio damage. Oh my god, he just has nothing at home to defend here. The Queen's coming down all the way from the middle of the map with the Roach Ravager army just for one drop ship. Just to deal with one drop ship, and it doesn't even die. It gets out of there with 8 drone kills.
For the first time in multiple minutes, TY is in the middle of the map, and iAsonu has had to go back home as TY actually finds some of the swarm hosts over here, but they do have the cooldown available. Locusts come out and save the day for now. There was swarm hosts, though. That's a big waste of a Locust cooldown, you know? He doesn't get anything done with these apart from keeping the swarm hosts alive, and that means now he's got even longer before he can attack once again. Yeah. And as you said, I mean, now he's lost even more drones. 39 workers to the 60. TY's economy is absolutely insane. 3-2 upgrade starting up. What does iAsonu do at this point?
He's got 2-1 Roach Ravager, Wardy. That's his army right now. I guess 2-1 Queens as well. Oh, they're going to get one of these metapacks with a lot of Marines in them, but most of them will still unload, and they'll stim down and kill a lot of these Queens before the Roaches come to defend. Meanwhile, Liberator harassment on the third base. Liberator harassment heading towards the main as well. Oh no, he's going to turn around and take out the natural, and just TY hitting Asanu in every single facet of his base.
And at the same time, he's pushing through the center of the map. Creep is being cleaned, and he's ready to fight. He finds the swarm host in the center. Locust will drop down, but there's too many Marines, and iAsonu is in so much trouble right now as TY keeps pushing forwards. And I mean, TY is just everywhere still.
The Roaches are the only unit that can fight right now. The Ravagers as well as the Swarm hosts are on cooldown. He kills a base and pulls back. TY is just seconds away from winning game 1 here, I feel, Wardy. He's just done too much damage to the Chinese host.
Drones keep on dropping. These Roaches are running through liberation zones, and TY will back away for a few seconds, but only to get his reinforcements and get ready to push again, I feel. He hasn't even been using all of these tanks that he has back at home. Imagine how troubled iAsonu is going to be as soon as TY brings them across.
The army supply is not really telling the story here because of how supply-intensive swarm hosts are. TY is actually up a ton in effective army here once those Locust come on cooldown, and he's just going to stim forward with these siege tanks supporting from the back and push iAsonu back again without losing too much at all.
iAsonu is not going to have much left after this, and it's just going to be GG. TY, absolutely monsters game number 1. I actually love this because TY looked as though he was in a bit of trouble, immediately realized he was overcommitting forwards, never did it again until he knew he could actually have enough to fight the second time around.
I mean, he's a professional gamer since the days of Brood War when he was known as Baby. He's been playing this game pretty much his entire life. He knows when to adjust and how to adjust in intense series is just like this. He's in the round of 8 of a tournament, and he's changing his game plan right between our very eyes. I very much doubt he faces Swarm host play very often on the ladder, Woody, to
Definitely
say the
not
least.
playing bio. Yeah. Definitely not off of 2 bases on 40 drones up until 10 minutes in the game. I mean, this is really like Chinese StarCraft, you know, China's always been one of these places which has had weird and wacky builds and players who have done out of the ordinary stuff. I mean, Jim was one of those players back in the day.
Yeah.
iAsonu's always been known to be this kind of different sort of player, and he's shown it this tournament, but at the moment, it isn't working out against TY.
Yeah, he's going to have to pull another rabbit out of the hat here if he wants to get a map in this series. TY looking very scary. Scarily dominant is the way I would describe his play in game number 1. I really hope iAsonu can fight back and possibly even, dare I even say it, come back and win a series against this incredible monster. Like, we've brought it up over again and again, but it really is important to just point out that he is the Katowice champion. And the game has changed since then, but not that much, especially in TvZ. It's been pretty much stock standard. I mean, it's a very viable matchup. A lot of stuff's viable, a lot of players viable. It's a great spot right now in terms of balance, in terms of build choice. And the right choices were made by TY in game 1. But we are in game 2 in the top left here. This is iAsonu. And in the bottom right, this is TY. iAsonu still on that incredibly old and very well accoladed team of China, the Invictus Gaming. TY repping Splice here on stage.
And he's just been so dominant since joining Splice. You know?
He has, yeah.
I mean, wins Katowice, gets himself a seed into BlizzCon, shows up at Shanghai, and just looks absolutely dominant in groups, as we were talking about last game. 4-0, yet to drop a map this weekend. Could he have a perfect tournament run? It'd be very difficult, but man, if there's anyone to do it, might be TY.
I mean, a lot of people watching him from home right now, all you Passion Lords out there in Twitch chat, probably going, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if TY ended up being 7-0 in this tournament as he gets into the semifinals. But we'll see. You know, I've seen magic happen. Part of the reason I love this game so much, Wardy, is that I have seen magic happen so many times. It's a 1v1 game. So many things can go wrong, and not many things can go right. So it really comes down to how you're feeling when you're up in the booth. History really sometimes does not matter when you come into the stage.
And saying that, iAsonu in the booth looked kind of stressed out after game number 1,
A little
you know?
bit, yeah.
It was almost as though he was like, man, if this wacky stuff didn't win, then what is going to win against TY? Like, I'm not going to play standard against this guy, right?
This was his map for Swarm Host against Protoss, but that was against Protoss. I feel like a Roach Ravager timing would be pretty strong in this map as well, but TY, no doubt, saw his games, iAsonu's games against Gumiho. I'm sure he talked to Gumiho a little bit as well, and gave himself a little bit of a game knowledge, or iAsonu knowledge rather, because iAsonu's game is very different from what you normally see in CVT, or any matchup really. iAsonu is very creative, very aggressive, timing-based Zerg.
He is indeed, but so far, super standard stuff from him. 2 queens on the way, link speed starting up. This is the more standard route of things, and I wonder if he even takes a third hatchery at normal time, and we'll see shortly as we were about to see this Reaper coming in, and iAsonu, let's see how he defends it. It's a little bit awkward, a few moments here without the queen, just makes it a bit more difficult. Obviously, you don't want to lose the Zerglings as well, and you can see that great micro there, pulling back the damaged Zergling, and there, that was actually really cool. 2 different ways of micro, and the first time he actually selects the link on the top of the screen and pulls it back. The second time he selects it in his command card and pulls it back from there. So,
yeah,
little stuff. That's why the first-person view is so beautiful. You can see so many little things.
Absolutely. The first-person view is really just showing you guys at home that maybe you're a fan of the game, you don't play it much yourself. This is really what it takes to be this level of the game. This APN, this multitask, trying to keep an Overlord alive, meanwhile defending a Reaper. Not only is it a Reaper, it's a TY Reaper with just 4 lings and no queens, not losing a single thing. Just the level of play here on stage at IEM Shanghai round of 8 is insane.
This has been much better for iAsonu though. Last game from the Reaper, he did lose 2 drones, and that was with a pool first as well. So hatch first, doesn't lose any drones. iAsonu already looking a lot more comfortable in this game. He did look over towards his third hatchery when we were in his first-person view a few moments ago, so I was thinking he might move towards the third, but it doesn't look like he wants to just yet. There he is. He's going to move over now, and perfect timing. The Reaper's just hopped up into the lane to get some scouting info. Yeah,
dropping a cheeky grenade on the drones here, seeing if you pick 1 or 2 off, but no, the Queen says, don't you touch my babies, get the hell out of my base, and the Reaper will get deflected. Now, TY is going for a pretty standard Terran playback at home. I mean, something a little non-standard is that he's going for a medevac first instead of a Banshee or anything like that. But he's going to get that medevac out with Hellion play, and we're just seeing so many Terrans go for, Banshee, Hellion play, and with Raven as well, just from time to time in this matchup. It's one of the reasons, like I brought up, this matchup is so many things, there's so many choices are very viable. It's just how well you play it.
Yeah, you can do pretty much anything, and this has been a fairly popular one, the kind of the Hellion drop, and especially against someone who likes to go straight to roaches, which I think is what TY is identifying about iAsonu. If those Hellions get into the main and there isn't units up, this time there is, they could do so much, but the thing is it's so, cost-free anyways, because you drop in, if there's Lings there, you pick up and get away, and you force circling, so it's already a great setup for yourself, and behind there's a Raven on the way, more Marines, he's got a tank on the way out as well, TY playing super safe behind the free CC.
That's right, he's going to use gases back at his natural here, and with that medevac, he can start to ferry those. He knows that there's not too many drones at the third yet, but he can ferry between the third and the main. This is a very abusable cliff location here on Abyssal Reef, and he's going to try and go for the main right now. All Lings and Queen in defense for iAsonu. He's ready for this, and TY actually caught in a bit of a rough spot here with the medevac. He's pinned back by his Queens, has nowhere to go. Yeah. I think he's going to lose this.
Yeah, he keeps getting kind of ping-pong back and forth, as we're going to be seeing it making a dive into the main right now, where the Queens aren't. I mean, he'll just start to drop the Hellions because what else can he really hope to do, I guess? As we see the medevac is just about surviving.
Really nice defense so far by iAsonu. He lost the drone on 2, but not too much there. Meanwhile, looks like a little bit of a counterattack from iAsonu as well. But TY just losing a medevac and 4 Hellions for not a whole lot of damage, getting 5 drones. I don't think that's super worth.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think 5 drones is nice, but you should then be able to get out with at least 3 of the Hellions and the medevac as well, So this is actually okay for iAsonu. Let's see how well he deals with the Ravens. I think very well, because actually Queens, Roaches, Lings in position, a Spore as well. So he's pretty well set up here. Spire on the way down, and I do like this against the kind of couple fast Ravens, because if you get those Mutas out, you shut down that Raven harassment so quickly.
And even though that Raven got close to the natural, TY actually hasn't seen the Spire just yet. He's just out of vision in that wonky spot that the Spire's being placed here for iAsonu. So TY he's probably just thinking it's going to be straight up Roach player or Roach Ravager attack by iAsonu, but he's got something different in plan.
Yeah, and this could really catch TY off guard, All it takes is 5 or 6 meters to hit your mineral line, and actually it's going to be a lot more than that. He's got almost 1,000 gas in the bank. If TY thinks this is going to be Roaches, he might actually be in trouble. If these Mutas fly in, kill off a couple of tanks, get out a bunch of SCVs, I mean, what actually is there to stop Mutas at the moment? Like 11 Marines, but they're so immobile compared to the Mutas at this stage of the game with Stim not even finished.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Without Stim, they're just going to be back and forth and just taking a cheeky little walk between the bases here. TY does have a lot of Marines in position here to expect a ground-based attack. He's pumping out tanks right now. He's expecting Roaches. But with 7 Mutas and probably even more coming out of iAsonu shortly, that's actually very dangerous for these Terran mineral lines, for sure. He doesn't have turrets in position.
He just scanned the Spire, though.
Yeah, there it is.
I was about to say as well, it's very likely that TY would lose the Raven before and see the Mutas from the Raven. So I think he'll be prepared, and he's starting up turrets now, so he knows when to be ready for. And he's actually got 1 turret at the front, I guess, so he's just making sure to cover his base now, pulling his Ravens back. That scan was really sick, actually. He's seen the Spire at a crucial time to keep his Ravens alive and so much more, so this really worked out for him.
A lot of Zergs will put their tech in the natural here, so TY correctly choosing where to scan.
Well, it's where he hadn't been already as well.
Yeah,
He's already been through the main base. He's been poking at the third here and there with the Raven and then back in the natural, so it made a lot of sense to scan there. And it's just where the army might be as well, So if you see all those Roaches being kind of joined up, it's a good thing you can spot. And iAsonu right now, going for these Mutas into the big Roach switch, maybe hoping to hit a 1-1 timing, but because iAsonu has been identified as Roaches earlier, it feels as though TY is probably going to be prepared for it.
Yeah, he's already got tank production. He's got his Marine upgrades coming through. He's going to have 1-1 and Stim very shortly. Chasing down these Mutas with some boosted medevacs. Nice little move there from TY. He does lose 8 SCVs, but you know who's done making workers? I think iAsonu's done making workers. Water, he is just making Roaches now. Oh, shaving off the Muta there with those Marines. Nice little catch from TY, but iAsonu is going to start getting pretty aggressive here. He's making 13 Roaches, and that's not for defense. I can see them streaming across the map right now through the middle. The creep spread from iAsonu is insane, by the way. Can we just talk about this creep spread? It's taking up more than half the map at this stage. He is starting to press the issue.
One of these things that these Mutas should be trying to do is to pull the army around so that the Roach Ravager attack, when it hits all at the third base at once, I mean, Roaches and Ravagers are very powerful in the kind of the lower numbers because of just how supply and effective they are. So if you can drag a few little bits of army away with the Mutas, then that Roach Ravager all hitting the third is going to be very powerful, and it's going to be very difficult to stop. So, well, actually, this is also pretty good fire zone as well. TY out of position here in the center.
Yeah, definitely not enough units here from TY to be able to engage this. The Widow Mines are going to connect, but the Roaches can take a hit. They are tanky, they are armored units, and they live after that those Widow Mine hits. And speaking of tanky armored units, they're going to get even more healing shortly, Wardy. They're going to get Tunneling Claws and Burrow on the way here, and iAsonu also going to throw in Infestors for that beautiful synergy of Fungal and Ravager Biles.
So it was so unfortunate that actually he was trying to find the Ravens moving around the map, which he does manage to do now. But it means that the mutas weren't in position to punish the fact that TY had to lift up there in the center. Otherwise, that could have been pretty scary. You know, you lose all those medevacts and all those units, and that amount of Roach Ravager then becomes very, very scary. So that's going to be there's an unfortunate moment for iAsonu, but TY deals with the crisis, and he's going to find iAsonu's going to find a medevac right there as well.
Yeah, nice little pick off. It was a full medevac too, so he gets a bunch of Marine kills, and we see that TY's got a bit of bio with Raven in defense here, but iAsonu, with this creep spread and with this many roaches, can definitely pick a fight right now.
Almost on the way. How many has he made? Just 2? I wonder if that's like 2 feels like a mistake.
Yeah, I think so. I definitely feel like Infestors make a lot more sense right now. Getting Fungals down and locking down medevacs, taking them out with Biles is a lot more important for iAsonu at this point in the game. He doesn't have a whole lot of anti-air once those mutas start to get shaved into it. I can't see him making any more mutalisks in this game. It's all about getting the hive, all about getting the tier 3.
TY is going to hit a drop into the third base right here, and he is going to be able to push away a few of the drones. Immediately we'll just lift up here and just going towards the main, as we're going to see a little bit of action in the center of the map as well. Nice target fire in there by TY.
Oh, beautiful,
Ravagers, and he's actually just going to clean up everything here in the center while he's still got that drop moving around in the main base as well. And TY is starting to go full TY. You know, this is what we saw against Dark the other day. The multitasking is always on point. He's able to be everywhere. He makes the most of every single unit he has made.
That's right. Controlling an army with a Raven in the middle of the map, dropping in the main of iAsonu, getting drone damage. Meanwhile, Macquing back at home, getting his supply depots down, getting his upgrades, getting his production all sorted. TY not missing a single beat here with his macro.
No, he really is not. As I mean, this time iAsonu will find a couple of units to pick off, sure, but TY's done what he wanted to do. He cleaned out a lot of creep spread, and you know, back at home he's got so many tanks. There's no realistic way you attack into a defensive siege line at this stage of the game with just Roach Ravager. Maybe if there was some Vipers mixed in, it's possible, but at this point, that's not happening. iAsonu is actually going to go for the Greatest Spire. Corruptor's on the way up. That's going to be his choice of tier 3 tech initially.
That makes a ton of sense here. It's going to help out a lot against these tanks and also do free damage to the bio as well as those Broodlings come into play. And also, killing that Raven's pretty sick for iAsonu, as that was TY's mobile detection against borrowed roaches against these Infestors, which are going to be incredibly dangerous for the Terran. I don't care how good a Terran is, Infestors are so dangerous at this stage of the game. We have roaches with tunneling claws coming through. They're engaging a bit of bio here. They can't win that fight, so they do pull out.
Yeah.
Action all over the map here.
Yeah, action all over. I was just watching those roaches to see what they might try and do, and they're actually burrowing forwards once again, but there's a turret on the high ground and a wall off too. TY has all of his doorways closed at the moment. Nothing iAsonu can find. There's a couple drones will go down here as well. The Liberator getting some action in, and we'll just sit and pick off lavas. The Queen will eventually pick up this kill of TY. Doesn't pay attention to it, but TY also pushing up the right side while also dropping on the third. I mean, the action is still everywhere from TY.
Yeah, TY never hits you in one place. He hits you in 3 places at once, at least. And meanwhile, here's the main push from TY. The tank's coming along for a ride this time, and he's going to cancel this base for sure. Clear up to this creep and try and press the issue here and possibly win game number 2 with this push. But iAsonu does have these scary spellcasting units. There's a nice Fungal, and these Biles are going to eliminate everything.
Yeah, that was a nice little combination of spellcasting there, as we still see. Well, these 2 Swarmos are actually sending some Locusts in towards the natural expansion. I mean, look at an SCP-02 perhaps, as we see. Well, pushing towards TY, here we go, but there are Broodlords out, 3 of them ready, 3 more on the way, and TY has no real answer other than just hoping he has overwhelming bioforces.
I think you're right. I think this Broodlords could definitely change things for the better here for iAsonu. TY is killing a lot with this push. He does have stubble. We just saw it there in the main, getting the reactors on that double starport. He's ready for this transition. He sees the Broodlords, and TY is going to continue this push here. No point going home. He'll lose all the tanks to the Broodlords if he does. He's continuing here. He wants this hatchery kill.
Yeah, he's just going to push on in, and initially it looked pretty good for TY, but now he's starting to gather together. A huge Fungal up to the top side. And now there's only really tanks left, which I guess he'll unsiege, lift up, and boost home with the medevacs. Well, I mean, he's still rallying. I guess he'll stick around, but for how long? Like, the Broodlords are here, right? Yeah, he has to. 100%.
Losing whatever tanks are left behind to give his army. Most of them have to get out of here and consolidate his forces. iAsonu going for a big attack here. He spells weakness.
He does indeed. I mean, he's fully right to do so. I mean, the Vikings are still just on the way up. He's making more and more Corruptors so he can get rid of those Vikings. And that means these Broodlords are still going to be very powerful. He drops down a set of Broodlings right here and picks up a turret. And TY is going to start doing what we expect to see against Broodlords, which is abuse the maneuverability. But look at that. A tank goes down and everything right now counts for iAsonu.
Actually, a bit of friendly fire on the tanks as well, helping out iAsonu a bit. These tanks are very, very damaged. iAsonu with a little bit of creep down here as well to help his units out. Oh, man. Broodlords coming in from the north here. Not a whole lot of anti-air for
There's no
TY
detection.
here.
There's no detection. The roaches are going to go underneath. They're going to pop up on all of the tanks. And this is going to be huge for iAsonu. The tanks will fall, but he's also fighting a planetary, which isn't pretty. And now the Broodlords are a bit out of position. And iAsonu is going to lose the Broods, but he might just get this base still.
Oh, this planetary's getting so low. If he gets the planetary, things might be all right for iAsonu, but he doesn't. TY keeps it alive. He loses 7 SCVs, but iAsonu, what did he have to pay for this cost here? He lost all of his Broodlords, Wardy. That was his big, scary tier 3 unit, and they're gone now. And TY, he's got 3-3, nearly finished here. He's producing a ton of bio and getting the tank count back up again.
TY dropping all over once again as soon as he finds the moment. But iAsonu looks as though he'll clean this up. I really feel in that fight, iAsonu, he really just sort of needed a couple of units underneath those Broodlords. I love the idea of going from the left and the top, but you need something under the Broods, otherwise the Marines are just going to overrun them.
And we saw that coming, exactly what you said just happened here. And iAsonu, with insane creep spread, he's right at the front door here of TY's planetary, but he needs units to seal this deal here. TY's upgrades about to finish. He's got 3-2, so he lost one of the engineering bays with armor there, so my apologies, it's just 3-2. I thought it was 3-3. But his tanks hit pretty hard. They have +2 attack. This bio is still a lot stronger than the late game cost and efficiency of Roach Ravager. It just isn't that good in the super late game anymore.
Yeah, Roach Ravager is really difficult to make kind of work as the game goes on. And especially when it's just so many roaches. He has 37 roaches and only 3 Ravagers, which is really, really roach heavy right now, so...
Oh, nice pick off there.
Yeah, really beautiful.
Any bit of free damage iAsonu can do will keep him alive in this game and give him a fighting chance. TY trying to deal with this creep spread, but at this point, it's a tall order to get rid of all of this creep spread here. TY breaking off dropships, looking for an opening, any kind of econ damage, and this will do it. There's hatchery in a fair bit of trouble here. iAsonu not with a ton of army just yet. He needs to bring everything together if he wants to fight this back, but iAsonu's army split into 2 at the moment.
I mean, the problem is he's got 14 Corruptors and no Broodlords. You know, I understand he wants to get rid of the Vikings perhaps before he makes Brood, but it means he doesn't actually have enough to fight on the ground at all. I mean, now he's morphed in Ravagers. I'm not even sure if that's going to make the difference with enough of these tanks in the back. Marines, Marauders already simming forward, and iAsonu misses the fungal.
Yeah, really needs to hit these fungals really, really critically here. Needs those biles. He's got 6 Broodlords on the way again. This is just deja vu. This push again from TY. He kills the hatchery, he moves on in while Broodlords are morphing in the exact same spot. Fungals going down from iAsonu, not the greatest fungals in the whole world. TY stimming in, he smells like he's got blood in the water here, and he's going for it. Stimming in with that bio, a lot of the Corruptors are going to go down, but a lot of them still live here, and the Broodlords can now change things for iAsonu. Can he keep them alive against the Vikings, though?
I don't know if he can. That said, I mean, the Viking and Broodlord counts both going down so quickly, but what isn't going down is that bio count. Look at it. It's just shredding the roaches and Ravagers on the ground, and he might just about run out of unity in the end, but TY is the player with money in the bank. He's up in supply, and he is indeed going to clean this out, it seems. At the very end, it's very close, but reinforcements do come in, and that should be enough to edge this out.
I think you're absolutely right, Wardy. Even if TY gets cleaned up, which he may not even get cleaned up here, he is just worlds ahead of iAsonu now. He's been trading as efficiently as possible. These siege tanks still alive, still DPSing down his roaches. Even with iAsonu's hatcheries hatching roaches right in TY's face, the reinforcements are continuing to power through here. He has to pick up the tanks and move back, but TY, with almost double the army supply, can absolutely consolidate his forces and crush him in this game.
Yeah, there's just nothing to do anymore at this point for iAsonu. He's in a lot of trouble, and you can just see that TY's reinforcements are just going to be too much in the end. It was a very close fight at the top, but what we're not seeing behind is the fact that TY is really 20 workers ahead. He's got the economy. Because of how he's played throughout the rest of the game, GG, TY 2-0.
We mentioned it when we had that first-person cam. Never misses a beat with his macro. TY, not a single bead of sweat on his head as he is on match point here in the first game of the round of 8. And iAsonu clearly looking so stressed out here. He's one map away from elimination. His dreams, his hopes of making the semi-final in front of his home crowd is starting to slip through his fingers here, Wardy.
Yeah, it's really not the place iAsonu wants to be in. An 0-2 defeat. I mean, he's giving good games, though. You know what we said at the very start? If he comes out here and plays really good games and puts up a fight against TY, then I think he can at least be happy. Maybe not immediately, but, you know, a couple of days later when he's had time to reflect, he can be happy. And so far, he's definitely doing that. You know, there's moments in that game, it looks like iAsonu might win. There was moments in game 1 where it's like, is TY going to be able to defend? And, you know, so far, iAsonu has put up more of a fight than I think a lot of us were expecting.
I absolutely agree with you. I mean, I hope, even though iAsonu, if he does go down, and you know, I hope he doesn't, but if he does go down here on stage, I hope that he really, like you said, reflects in a week or so and really pats himself on the back for how well he did against these players. And no doubt he's earned a lot of fans. The people watching the tournament from home, thousands of people watching right now, I'm sure they're starting to get to wave their little IA flags in the crowd as well. A bit of that foreigner hype against these Korean monsters. That's, yeah.
I'm sure they are. All right, guys, we're going to be back with Game 3 in just a few minutes after this quick commercial break.
Welcome back. Intel Extreme Masters Shanghai. This first match of the day, TY against iAsonu. That last game was a heartbreaker. iAsonu should have had that, Todd.
Yeah, it feels like the way he was playing it, you know, saving lava and floating minerals might not have been the most effective thing. Maybe if he had spent that on more roaches and actually gotten in there, you know, kind of like, you know, pig wishes he would have. I think he might have been able to do more damage and then from there being in a better position, leaving the Brutals. I mean, obviously, like, it's easy to speak, right? Like, we're sitting up there, like, all of us scrub lords, low GM.
Well, not
casters.
you. Yeah, we don't know how high your ceiling is at this point, but continue.
Yeah, not scoring the Brutals, you know, like, we saw a lot of mistakes that we were talking about. Obviously, iAsonu, there's a lot of things he's doing really well. That Krish spread is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But too many mistakes against somebody like of the caliber of TY, in my opinion.
Yeah, he looked clean in game number 2. That was an excellent game. I love the mechanics, love the first-person view there as well. You can really see he's on point. He had map control, he had all the map vision in the world. It's just that fight where the brutes were exposed.
Yeah.
It's just devastating. And obviously I can imagine him where he's like, I've got 6 Brute Lords. No man in his right mind is going to steam into 6 Brute Lords because all the Marines die, right? No, these are TY Marines. They don't die, Tull says.
No.
And I think that's where he lost the game. Other than that, I love the way he played Abyssal. Defenders landing, you know, we have to be honest there. If you open up on 2 bases, you stay on 2 bases, you are not supposed to lose 14 drones because you stay on 2 bases to make your life easier, right? So you don't get spread out. You're not thin in defending all locations at once. If you're only on 2 bases, the maximum amount of drones that you can lose, I would say, is 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And even that is a lot if you stay on 2 bases. But yeah, other than that, game 2 was awesome. He looked good. Maybe he can steal a map.
My coaching did wonders for Bjorn yesterday. Maybe we should throw Roddy in there with iAsonu. If you're on 2 bases, you really can't lose all these drones, man.
Well,
get it together.
I think the way that we saw him kind of cupping his head in his hands shows how he feels about these losses. He knows that those games should have gone better for him. He should be at least 1-1 right now. Hopefully he can bring it back, though. I think it's time to throw it over to game number 3.
Yeah, that's right, and we are going to see if the local hope can fight back here. In the top left, this is iAsonu. Shanghai cheering hard for him, but this guy is trying to dash his hopes and dreams. This is TY. The ticker brought it up. This is one map away from being an all-Korean tournament, Wardy.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we expected it to be an all-Korean tournament at the start of today.
We sure did.
But, yeah, I mean, iAsonu's already come a long way. He's already caused upsets. And again, I mean, like they were saying on the desk, iAsonu had game number 2 in a lot of ways. You know, he had those moments, he had those opportunities, and he just make those small mistakes. And someone like TY is going to pick up on those mistakes to get back in the game. And that's the difference between the players who are winning championships and the players who are one day beating champions, but the next day going down 0-2.
No, you're absolutely right. Couldn't set it better myself. And just imagine if he had 5 or 6 roaches under these Brood Lords, how different it would have looked against that Polar Marines.
Yeah, I mean, literally anything, just because anything means that the roaches won't actually run on forwards, you know? Sorry, the Marines won't run on forwards, because if there's roaches there, they're going to die. You know, they can't actually target the Brood Lords realistically. So it's really, really kind of tough because, again, it's such a small little thing, but everything else went so good for iAsonu in that fight, you know? He had the roaches unburrowing on top of tanks. He was fighting against a Planji, but I felt it was okay considering he was killing 6 or 7 tanks to begin with. So it was a tough one to watch, and well, let's see if he can make some magic in Game 3. Let's see if he can bounce back for the home crowd.
That's right. The last time I saw iAsonu play a TvZ on this match, or a ZVT rather on this map, he went for a proxy hatchery at the 3rd base location and just rallied in roaches and beat poor old Gumiho in a 2-0. That was the last map there in that series. That's this stage. It's looking a lot more regular here from iAsonu. Getting that drone count out, fast expand, getting speed. And TY, I mean, he's Mr. Regular. He's Mr. Regular. Regular TvZ will build from him as well. He's getting that factory up, getting his reactor over. No doubt probably going to see some Hellions following up. It's just a single gas, though.
Yeah, single gas, and I think that's one of the big things to look at right now, because by now you should have 2 gas if you're going to build a starport. So this is looking from TY to probably be something along the lines of a faster 3rd CC, and maybe even just playing a bit greedier, and there it goes down. 3 CC in the main base.
Yeah, well spotted there. So this means he is going to be out. I mean, you know, Hellions only cost minerals, so we can get Hellions out for a bit of map control. Maybe pin the Zerg back a little bit, kill some Lings, drones if he's lucky. But yeah, the starport is certainly going to be delayed a little bit here until that 150 minerals hits. Yeah, the Reaper just dancing with his queens a little bit. Not a dance he can win, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what TY's follow-up is, because he's throwing the tech lab down on the barracks, and I wonder if he just bypasses the starport completely until after extra racks and after engineering bays, which is kind of the old school way of playing TvZ. I mean, 3CC has been a building TvZ for absolutely, literally forever. At least, you know, maybe not forever, but for a very long time, for years. And this is like the super standard way of playing it. A bunch of Hellions, a fast stim. We'll probably see barracks before engineering bays nowadays, but still, we'll be seeing all of that before any real harassment past these initial couple of Hellions. But nice scout from iAsonu up the ramp. He sees everything.
He does. The Overlord seeing what he missed here with that Ling, and then my God, just going up the ramp, he saw that 3rd CC, he saw it was nearly complete. And TY's going to beat back this Overlord, but iAsonu has all the information in the world here, and you're absolutely right. It's just extra barracks production, factory going down with that 3rd CC, no starport just yet.
Yeah, and I think from here, iAsonu, the scout is so important, more important than a lot of scouts, because now he knows not to allow TY to be too greedy or to be as greedy himself to make up for it. Some Hellions going to dive into the main base. What are they going to get done here? Because actually, iAsonu has been a bit greedy himself. A nice drone surround to minimize the damage. 2 workers killed, but there's still 3 Hellions live in the main.
Yeah, if he can get rid of these Hellions only losing 2 drones and a bit of mining time, he's going to be a very, very happy boy. Queen blocking the ramp here. Looks like the Hellions will go down. He is delaying mining time here on this main base.
Yeah, he's delaying mine time, but this is actually the dream for iAsonu, because after these Hellions die, TY has no map control at all. No starports, so he can't just drop around with Medivacs and Marines to clean up creep. The Hellions aren't there anymore. TY has thrown away all of his map control now for 2 drones, and that really is not worthwhile here. So iAsonu, he's got information, he's defended, he's not taken damage, and he's also the one with complete map control in his favor. And we saw how good that creep was on Abyssal. Yeah. Imagine what it's going to look like now. There is nothing from TY to do anything about it.
I don't think there's been a solid early game for iAsonu yet in this series until right now. So he's going to be looking a little bit hopeful here in Game 3. Already wearing the daddy pants here against TY, the monster that's already been batting him about a little bit on the ring on stage. That's how we see him. He's got a fully saturated 3rd base. The main's being resaturated now. He's sitting pretty now.
Yeah, TY's pretty happy.
He's looking a bit blue.
Yeah, maybe you put one if his screen was actually completely blue, but I don't think it actually is. But yeah, he's quite happy with his own position. Sure, okay, the creep might get out of control, but he's probably saying to himself, well, I'm TY, you know, I'll deal with that later. You know, it's something a lot of Terrans will probably struggle with, and it won't make his life easy. But it's something he probably does have a backup plan for, as we see. First Medivac's on the way out, 1-1 coming in.
Yeah.
Combat shields, I was about to say, it was missing. But starting now is going to line up nicely for kind of like 4-ish Medivacs to make a bit of a larger push with maybe a couple of Widow Mines just to stop pressuring once that 1-1 finishes.
And TY's reading this very well here. Normally in the series so far, he's been expecting roaches, he's been expecting, you know, a ground army, but he knows that there's going to be a straight up Ling Bane for a while here, and he's getting the correct tools for it. He's got a reactor coming up on that factory. He's going to start getting Widow Mines instead of tanks and getting Liberators and a ton of bio and lots of production here on 3 base.
Yeah, and as you can see, iAsonu really is just focusing on that creep. He's getting that 4th base of his own up. And this is the most standard game we've seen all day so far between iAsonu and TY. You know, as you said, nothing's gone wrong early for iAsonu. This is his shot to show that he can live up to the big Korean names and that he can take them on in these standard games as well. He has the first two Medivacs to Marines. There's Lings here, there's Banes here, he loses 1 Queen, and he should be okay for this.
Yeah, just losing 1 Queen, not too bad. All things considered, it does suck to lose her, but other than that, a very nice defense from iAsonu. Beats back that first little harassment there from TY. The Banelings morphing just in time, reading it very, very nicely here. iAsonu with plenty of map vision here. He's got lots of creep. He's got the tower in the middle of the map. You see that TY's breaking off a dropship to the north. Meanwhile, moving with a bunch of units through the south, heading towards the 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, this is what we expect. Again, you know that 1-1's about to finish up, and it just is the timing where TY is going to be the most powerful force in a while. So, nice little target firing there. He picks up. He's got Widow Mine starting to come in, and I actually kind of like the fact he sends 1 minute back up north, going to try and distract.
Another massive Widow Mine hit for TY, just like against Dark. He kills so many Zerglings there.
That was like every single Zergling, almost 20 supply of iAsonu just disappears. Oh, did we just curse this? We said iAsonu was having a completely perfect game, and now he's got nothing.
He's lost his army, Wardy, and the 4th base is in trouble as well. This Queen is going to die to the Liberator. Another Queen just walking into the Liberation Circle. Oh my God, this has just spiraled out of control here for iAsonu. I feel terribly for him. Just 1 mine hit has made things so hard for iAsonu to continue to stop TY's pressure, and TY knows it too. He's dropping in the main, he's killing more and more drones.
Once TY has momentum, he doesn't let it go. And iAsonu, you can see he's struggling. He's not mining anymore in the main. TY at the same time rallying units through the south side of the map yet again. Saves 8 Marines still with that 1 Medivac, and the pressure will just not let up for the rest of this game, I don't think.
iAsonu has less than 30 Zerglings, and he's trying to make Mutalisks now deal with the dropships, and they will get a full one here, and he will clean this up, which is great. But how does he stop the Widow Mine and the upgraded bio unloaded from these Medivacs here? He doesn't have enough Zerglings. He's trying to make as many as he can, but he's running out of lava.
I mean, he's only got 8 Banelings, and with this many Widow Mines, it's going to be so difficult. The counterattack's something to try and break away from TY's momentum right now. But is it going to be enough? I mean, the Lings are moving over. There's a lot of Lings, but there's a lot of bio here to defend as well, and TY will turn this away. He's not going to let iAsonu have any shot at getting back in this game right now.
Just like in Game 1 on Defenders Landing, TY with units back at home. He doesn't ever rally everything across the map. He leaves stuff at home just in case of a counterattack. Such a solid all-round Terran here. The 4th base going up for TY, completely defended by these Marines here. Lings coming in to clean up some of these Widow Mines. And it looks like they will for the most part. Oh, actually, he leaves 1 here, so he can't take the hatchery just yet until he cleans that up.
Ling's going to try and run into the 4th base right now, but already TY in position as we saw before. And again, this is just so difficult. And as TY finishes up 2-2 very shortly, where does this game go for iAsonu? I only think it gets worse unless he can find some sort of a miracle fight. He is to the right side, or to the south here, going to pick off a few Marines in the middle of the map. Lings and Banes have just got destroyed, and TY has just taken another 20 supply away from iAsonu.
I just missed the edge of that, but the army supply gets further and further ahead for TY. iAsonu diving on the turret, but a quick reaction from TY keeps the turret alive. He heads into the main. There's 2 Widow Mines here. Oh no! iAsonu and the Thor as well. He's going to lose so many Mutalisks.
Oh, these mutas aren't doing anything right now, and you can see TY is just skyrocketing towards 200 supply.
Oh, wow.
Resources lost is telling the tale of this game 3 times over. 7.8k to the 3.2, and TY marching up top. He's got double the army supply. He's got the upgrades. Does iAsonu even kill another unit in this game? Well, you'll find one medevac, but I don't think there's going to be much more.
Yeah, I don't know if he can stop this push. He's going to need some miracle Baneling connections and take out all of these medevacs if he wants any hope of giving himself breathing room to take that take the fourth base and saturate it here. He is getting it in the forward location. TY's Widowmine still denying it on the left-hand side of the map. But he needs to hold on here. Can iAsonu do it? TY's upgrades are finished. He's got +3 attack on the way as well, just in case. Overseers are going to die here. That's his detection for these Widowmines.
Absolutely everything has just fallen apart since that huge Widowmine hit. iAsonu has one huge flank left in him, and that's what he's setting up for right now. He's waiting and waiting, and here we go. But the Widowmines are going to do a great job slowing down a lot of these Banes. And is there going to be enough? I do not really think so. There's more Marines at the back, and those Marines against Mutas, against Lings on their own, are not going to be enough. And TY is just looking fantastic. Still, the Mutas are going to go down to the 4. And TY is just going to keep on kiting back. But GG, a clean 3-0, and the hometown hero is down. TY, our reigning IEM champion, is a semi-finalist once again here in Shanghai.
7-0 in Maps Wardy. TY with a flawless victory going into the semi-finals, has not even bled once in this tournament. And iAsonu excused from the stage, unfortunately not getting a map against TY, the reigning Katowice champion, Season 10 champion.
Heartbreak for
Season 11
iAsonu.
champion, rather. Oh, man.
At least he put up a fight. You know, games 1 and 2, he really, really did. Game 3, he was doing fine, but then that one Widowmine hit. And what do you even do from there as iAsonu? I mean, you're playing against TY. It's never going to be easy. And you can see he's disappointed. He knew he could have taken a map here, I think, but hey,
guys,
again,
all of you guys watching from home, send him love. He knows that you guys were cheering him on in this tournament, the foreign hope in this tournament, and I hope he won a lot of fans here at the Intel Extreme Masters Shanghai. But we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we'll have winners interview and more games. Don't go away.
Welcome back to post-game interview of Intel Extreme Masters Shanghai 2017. Standing beside me is the first semi-finalist, Baby. 자, 전태양 선수. 베이비가 아니죠. 이제 TY죠. 죄송합니다. 전태양 선수, 대륙이 무섭지 않으세요? 중국에서 중국 선수를 마지막 희망을 3대0으로 떡시신시키시고 너무하시네요. TY, aren't you scared to dominate China's last hope in front of all this crowd, 1.4 billion strong, in a 3-0 dominant victory?
일단 IA 선수가 워낙 잘하기도 하고 또 중국 선수인 만큼 긴장을 좀 많이 했는데 이렇게 이기게 돼서 다행인 것 같고, 아무래도 IA 선수도 주변에 응원을 많이 받는 만큼 긴장을 많이 해가지고 제가 좀 쉽게 풀어나갈 수 있었던 것 같아요.
You know, watching Sonu play on day one, he seemed really on form, and I think what happened was that he also felt very nervous from all the fans, 1.4 billion cheering him on, and I think with that I was able to clinch the victory from his nerves basically. 자, 어제 김대엽 선수랑 저녁을 먹으면서 돌아오는 길에 김대엽 선수가 기왕 나 진 거 손우도 전태양을 이기고 우승을 가야 내가 명분이 산다라면서 약간 손우 선수를 응원했거든요. Yesterday over the dinner, Stats was actually cheering for Sonu because Sonu already made him look bad. His goal was to have Sonu go to the finals, win it all, so that he looks less bad and he gets the mental victory.
저도 그 생각을 하긴 했었어요. 손우 선수가 저를 이기면 우승을 했으면 좋겠다는 생각을 하긴 했는데 그래도 또 승부는 어쩔 수 없잖아요. 어쩔 수 없는 거고 손우 선수가 이렇게 잘하는 선수인 거를 어제 알았기 때문에 그 어떤 선수보다 경기를 많이 하고 준비를 했기 때문에 이렇게 좋은 결과가 있었던 것 같아요.
Honestly, Sonu has a lot of potential to be one of the greatest in StarCraft II in the upcoming couple of years from now on. I saw what he's capable of, and fighting against him, even though it was 3-0, I could see that he was doing a lot of things right, and just a couple of things he needs to work on. And really, in terms of stats, you know, he obviously has what it takes. So, 또 뭐라 그랬죠?
네?
뭐라 그랬지?
훌륭한 선수인 걸 알아가지고 방심하지 않았다고.
Oh yeah, because he beat Stats. Of course, I was focusing even harder than if I were to play against any other players. And also, if Sonu were to beat me in this round, I would have done the same thing that Stats did, hoping for Sonu to go up to the finals and win it all for the fans here in China. 자, 그럼 마지막으로 저번에 지간 템플 가서 바이베이비에서 TY가 아니라 부다베이비로 거듭났거든요. 한 번 더 가셔야 하는 거 아니겠습니까? So first day when we arrived, we went to Jingan Temple. We prayed. We brought the pray meta back into the game for your advancement into round of 8. Now, is that gonna be the rest of the day's plan?
징한 템플에 다녀오고 나서 이번 IEM 대회를 진행하면서 한 번도 안 졌거든요. 그래가지고 오늘도 경기 연습이 끝나고 시간이 되면은 혼자서라도 다녀올 생각입니다.
Jingan Temple brought me 7-0 so far, so I think if I can make myself get over to Jingan Temple again and pray again, I think it's going to be good all the way throughout the end of the tournament. Thank you very much for your interview. 자, 이제 밤길 조심하고요. Watch out for the back alleys. Make sure you stay away from there. Thank you. Back to you, casters.
Thank you so much, Mal. Great interview, as always. The man of 1,000 baseball caps. I hope he has a friend that works at Lids, man, or that's where his whole paycheck goes. So, guys, what do you think about this series? A bit disappointing. I think the 0-3 doesn't really speak to how well iAsonu was playing at some of those points.
Disappointing was TY against Ilazo at BlizzCon, all right? Like, iAsonu, he had a glimmer of hope, particularly in that second game. He showed a couple good things. At the end of the day, sure, it's a 3-0, but I hope he will come back stronger, and I know he will, and definitely shows some good things for the future here, especially since usually he competes in the WCS circuits as opposed to against Koreans like here.
I think if you bring that up one more time, Ilazo will unfollow you, by the way. He's like, God, how many times is he going to bring that up on
He's come a long way as well, especially against Darren. We just saw that at Home Story Cup, but yeah.
I think that obviously the series could have potentially been a little bit more competitive because in Game 2 we did see that iAsonu has what it takes to make it a relatively close game, and that was a game that I think a lot of Zergs out there were like, this is your game, man. You should win this game from this point on. We can talk about those Broodlords for days. It happened. It doesn't matter. Game 3, it looked all right as well early on. I'm still impressed with his mechanics overall, and it seems like he's really accurate, especially when we follow the first-person view. But against TY, it's pretty much one mistake. At this level, it's one mistake, one win of mine, and that's the beginning of the end. It just snowballs. Suddenly, you lose all these links. You cannot keep up with one drop, and then you're just chasing behind a player like TY, and he's just way too fast. And obviously, game number 1 was a little bit unfortunate, where he just took too much damage against the opening. I don't think this is like against what we expected. If anything, despite the fact that it was a 3-0, I'm still kind of impressed with iAsonu, because playing a game like he did on Game 2 on Abyssal out of all maps, which is, I think, the most straight-up map there is pretty much, I still think that's awesome. I still think that's something that, you know, we can give him a lot of kudos for, and I hope we see him maybe in WCS Montreal, and if he actually shows up there, and with his current ranking, standing in the ranking, I think he can break into the top 8. I really think he can.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you. I'd kind of like to see this guy at BlizzCon at this point. Like, he played so well in this tournament and definitely could have taken a map or two off TY. Yep. So I feel bad for him falling out, but that's it. Only Koreans left, Todd.
Yeah, well, I mean, there were a lot of them going to this tournament, and they're the favorites, so they're really delivering so far. TY with a perfect 7-0 here. Could he keep that up with Hero or Innovation up next in the semifinals? It's going to be hard, but
how often do you see Hero or Innovation 3-0'd? That doesn't even sound right.
No.
It's quite rare.
Yeah, I don't really see that happening. It reminds me of WSG earlier this year where we had Maru, who was just stomping everybody. I think he went 16-0 into the grand finals, where TY actually struggled a little bit more, lost a couple maps here and there, even lost a series in his group stage. But then in the grand finals, TY is like, yeah, even if you're undefeated, that doesn't matter. So it's a cool stat, but we shouldn't be fixated on it. Because people, either like Hero or Inno, or people from the lower bracket, even if he goes 10-0 into the grand final, that is no given at all.
It almost never happens that someone wins the tournament that they don't lose a map. Like Teja, the one time he did it over at DreamHack, that's the one time that it stands out. But even just now at Home Story Cup, you know, Zest won the tournament, spoiler alert. He lost a lot of maps and even dropped some series.
Yeah, that is quite true. And I definitely agree with you there, Roddy. Like, whoever makes it up can win that final.
It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and still come back. Zest loses a couple maps and he's still going strong. Rocky was so ahead of the meta, even in StarCraft.
I know. I'm like, all right, Mick, great job there. Yeah. Okay, so our next match is going to be Hero against Innovation. You guys a little bit hyped for that?
On a scale of 1 to...
Like, are you this hyped, or are you like this hyped, or are you like this
I am
hyped?
Maynard hyped. Sorry, that's
wow.
not hyped I am. They have a close score together. Wax Angel with the ticker doing a great job. I was actually mesmerized earlier what you were talking about. I started looking at the ticker. I got like hypnotized by it. But yeah.
Look at the ticker! New meme.
42-39 in maps. And that's a very close score here between these two.
Yeah.
So I think they're very well matched against one another. I would say Innovation on paper is probably going to be the favorite. But Hero, again, like having won 3 Intel Extreme Masters and always playing so well here in these tournaments. And if Hero came out here and delivered and played well against Innovation, he might even be going into the next matchup up against TOI with a lot of confidence that will be played tomorrow. So why not?
I mean, Inno showed that he's great in TvT because he played fantastic against Maru. Those games were just unreal, of an incredibly high level. And Innovation has always been praised for his TvZ. So even though Dark and Rogue are both incredibly scary opponents, I still think Inno's okay. In a weird way, I think that Hero is the worst opponent for Innovation, just because he's Hero and he plays different and he's weird. He's kind of like where we always looked at SOS, and SOS is still crazy. But Hero is also starting to get more on the crazy side each time we see him. So I think this is a pretty annoying matchup for Inno, and hopefully that's going to make for very good games for us, because us two will be casting.
The last Proto standing.
Well.
What will happen if he wins the tournament?
Hero?
Something crazy has to happen.
Well, Imba, clearly, right? So...
I mean, that happens in the foreign scene, right? We lose all Protosses before the quarterfinals, and then Neeb wins, and everyone's like, God, Protoss again? And we're like, hey, he was the only Protoss in top 8.
that only leaves the question, will Hero be the Protoss that we need? We're going to go to a commercial break and come back with these guys casting Innovation versus Hero.
feel like a pro gamer? Wait no more.